3 L's, lights, leans, and leaks. Okay. As far as lights, always have 6 lights. Okay. You got 6 lights in the front of the tractor, back of the tractor, back of the trailer. The first 3 of those 6 lights are always the same, left, right, 4-way. Then on the front of the tractor you have low beam, high beam, and clearance. Okay? So then I'll pop the hood. Now again, I'm going to do the inside out method. Okay? So, engine, steering, suspension, brake, and tire. So I know my engine is 8 letters, so I have to find 8 engine letters. I got 4 on the passenger side, 4 on the driver's side. So I'll do the 4 on the passenger side, and then I'll spend the rest of the pre-trip on the other side. I'll check my coolant level. I'll check my alternator, make sure it's properly mount secured. I'll check the belt to the alternator, make sure I have no more than 3/4 of an inch of slack. And then I'll check my belt-driven water pump, make sure it's properly mount secure and not leaking. Okay? Okay, I'll check my oil level. I'll check my power steering fluid to my gear-driven power steering pump. Number 7, I'll check my gear-driven air compressor, make sure it's properly mount secured. And number 8, I'm going to check every hose for leaks. I'm done with my engine 8. Now I do my steering. I'm going to check every steering link component to make sure it has a castle nut and cotter pin, and the steering box is properly mount secured. Okay, now I go to my TBS. But since I'm working from the inside out, I'll do SPT, suspension, brake, and tire. So 454. Okay, I'll check my leaf springs, make sure nothing's cracked, broken, or missing. I'll check the spring mounts, make sure they're PMS. I'll check my 2 U-bolts, properly mount secured. I'll check the shock, PMS, no leaks. Now my 5 brake parts, Chad L. Okay, chambers properly mount secured, no damage. The hose appears to be in good condition, no cracks or leaks. I'll check the slack adjustment push rod, make sure I have no more than 1 inch of slack. Then I'm going to lean over the tire, look at the lining of the drum. My lining is good, I have at least 1/4 inch. The drum, I don't see any cracks or blue color. Okay, now the 4 tire parts, rubber, rim, nut, and seal. Starting with the rubber, I check high CD, inflation, condition, and depth. Inflation, make sure it's between 90 and 110. C is condition, so I'm going to look for any ABCs, abrasions, bulges, and cuts in the rubber. ABCs are part of D, right? Mm-hmm. They're specific Ds. Okay, and the minimum depth, I've got more than 4/32, so I'm good. Drop down to the rim, make sure there's no illegal welds or cracks. All the lug nuts are tight and present. I don't see any graphite streaks. Then I'll check my hub oil seal. It's in good condition. If it were bad, the rim would be all shiny, okay, and oily. Okay, now the tough part's done. Now I just walk down the side of the rig. I'll check my mirror, make sure it's properly mounted secured. I'm going to make sure the door functions properly and the door has its weather strip. I'll make sure this light functions as a TFM, turn signal, 4-way flash, or marker light. Did I say mirror properly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My steps, PMS. The fuel tank, I'll take the cap off, make sure I have the gasket, make sure the tank has no damage or any leaks. Okay, inside the safety door, FET, fuses, extinguisher, triangle, and the extinguisher has to be at least 10 DC with a pin. Okay. Catwalk, I'm going to do my zigzag. Starting at the top left, I look at the exhaust. I don't see any soot, so I have no leaks. It's properly mounted secured. I'll check the lights and reflectors on top of the trailer. I'll check the back of the tractor, make sure I have my reflective tape. My header board's in good condition, no damage. I'm going to check the air and electric lines for both the tractor and trailer. Make sure they're in good condition. No cuts, no leaks. Okay, and my rubbers are in good condition. My catwalk is properly mounted secured. Right here I can see the frame rail. I don't have any illegal welds, cuts, or drill holes. And then I'll check all 3 sections of my drive shaft. Okay, make sure they're in good condition, no damage. Okay, now the fifth wheel area, 45. I got to check 4 things in the fifth wheel area. Number 1, I'll make sure the mounting bolts hold the platform to the frame. Okay, mounting bolt, mounting bolt, mounting bolt. Number 2, if the release arm is in, I would make sure the locking jaws are around the shank of the kingpin. Number 3, I don't see any gap between my apron and my fifth wheel plate. And number 4, this is a sliding fifth, so I'll make sure those pins are in their holes, and I have the proper clearance between the landing gear and the back of the tractor. Okay, now I got to talk about one drive axle. But I already talked about that axle up there, so I can shortcut it. So I say to myself TBS, and then I say to myself 113. I got one difference between the tires, one difference between the brakes, and 3 extra things on the suspension. So I'll check these tires exactly like the steers. The only difference is I'll check my axle seal. I'll check these brakes exactly like the steers. I just have an extra air hose to check. I'll check this suspension exactly like the steers, mount U-bolt springs and shocks, but I also have to check the airbags, airbag mounts and torsion. Okay, see how simple it is? I'm going to look at my mud flap, make sure it's 10 by 10. I'll check the 6 lights on the back of the tractor. Left, right, 4-way, brake light, tail light, reverse light. I'm going to look at my landing gear, make sure it's in good condition. I'll check the handle, make sure it functions in both high and low. Okay, then I just walk to the middle of the trailer. And I'm going to stop right here at this light, okay? We're not going to check that light because not every trailer has that light, but we care about this light. So now I'm going to look at the side of the trailer, make sure there's no damage. I'll make sure I have all my reflective tape, and I'll make sure this light functions as a TFM, turn signal, 4-way flasher marker light. Now I'm going to lean down and I'm going to look at the frame of the trailer. I'll look at all the cross members, make sure they're in good shape. Okay? Okay, then I'll walk further back. I'll make sure these air lines are at least 18 inches off the ground. Okay, I'm going to check my tandem release. It's in the lock position, but I'm also going to check the 2 pins, make sure they're sticking out of their holes. I got one right there, and I got one behind the other tire. Okay? Here we go, TBS. I got to talk about these tires, these brakes, and the suspension. But all I have to say is I'll check these tires exactly like the drive. I'll check these brakes exactly like the drives. As far as the suspension, okay, I'm going to check my leaf springs, make sure there's nothing cracked, broken, or missing. I'll check the spring mounts, make sure they're properly mounted secure. I'll check my 2 U-bolts, make sure they're in good shape. I'll check the airbags, airbag mounts, and torsion bar. And I also have to check my torque arm. So this trailer is loaded as far as the suspension, okay? Now again, you got to be careful because not every trailer has the same suspension. Okay, this one happens to be loaded. I'll check my mud flap, make sure it's 10 by 10. I'll make sure I have my hooks. I'm going to check my little yellow ABS light, make sure it functions properly. Okay. Then the rear of the trailer, I'm going to check my doors, make sure they're in good condition, they function properly. I'll make sure the doors have their ties to hold open on the hooks. I'll make sure I have all my reflective tape, and I'll check my 6 lights. Left, right, 4-way, brake light, tail light, clearance light. And then all you have to say from here is I'll check the other side of the tractor and trailer like I check this side.
The bumper. You check that one?
What?
For the test?
The bumper.
Make sure it's...
No, test. It used to be, but not anymore. Every few years the government changes stuff. For instance, battery box used to be on the test, not anymore. Steering plate used to be on the test. Any questions?
Is the landing gear crank on the test?
All you have to say is I'll check the landing gear, make sure it's in good condition, and it functions in both high and low. Okay. But on the test, you don't have to touch anything, just point, okay? Tell me what you're checking. So today's what, Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
So you've got Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. 5 nights to test for the pre-trip, okay? You'll take it Monday morning. Okay, let's close down the hood and I'll do the inside pre-trip. Now pay attention, this is the one you can't screw up or you fail the whole pre-trip. You have to ace the ale test, so pay attention to how I do it. Everybody got those photocopy sheets, right? From Michelle, it says Encore and Pig and all that. Okay, good. Okay, go ahead and close that hood, please.
Clear? Clear?
Hop on this side in the videotape.
Gotta lock it. No, the hood.